That's what he told me. It's in June.
The very beginning, is it?
Yeah. So I actually asked Frank if they needed anything. That'd be fine, so I have to give him his phone number.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we try to call the roll, please?
Don Stedman.
Here.
Lisa Nope.
Here.
Melanie Armagad.
Here.
Excuse me, Val Manette.
Here.
Debbie Terrian. Sorry.
Here.
Misspeak.
I'm seeking approval of the following special meeting minutes for February 18, 2014, the revised minutes, February 26, 2014, and March 4th, 2014. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to accept board minutes from February 18th. Okay.
Motion made, loud supported. All those in favor?
Aye.
Agenda items. First thing on the item is a public hearing for the presentation of the 2015, fiscal year 2015 budget. So the budget public hearing is open. Everybody have a preliminary budget report? The meetings that were special meetings, the board acting as the budget committee worked through the budget, proposed budget, which is in this preliminary budget report, fiscal year, or 2014-15 revenues and expenditures. So as the first page shows revenues from taxes, license permits, grants, showing the Metro Act was moved from its own fund into this fund. The fund balances still have to be established. Is there any questions on page 1? Any questions on page 1? Page 2. Transfers out to 401. I'll note that that is the proposed $5,000 going into the street paving, whatever fund that, so far we built that up from to 25,000 from the 20 if it's included in this budget year for the road improvements. Other than that, the proposed, anything under the trustee, any questions there? Governing body, any questions there? Supervisor? Clerk? Or board of review? Any questions? Next page shows the treasurers. The assessor, equalization assessor was moved from CTAF into the general fund. This is the assessor's salary. It's no different than in the past. It's just in the 101 fund instead of the 220. There will be elections this year. There's proposed expenses. Building and grounds and cemetery. The sexton payroll has a .01 in there because it has to have something or it won't show up on this report. That's something that the board will take up, reviewing the job description and filling that and deciding the salary. So that's undecided at this point. Any questions? Next page. Police sheriff, which is our ordinance enforcer, we are looking to fill that position this year. We did keep money in for dangerous buildings. The Metro Act fund goes towards the next one, which is the road commission street department, brining and street signs. The sanitary landfill, White Lake Area Solid Waste Authority land, that is the proposed portion that the township would owe regarding purchasing where the solid waste, where the transfer station is currently. Pride Week, the both proposed keeping that in. Planning, salaries have not changed. Zoning salary didn't change. Any questions on that sheet? Next sheet's capital outlay. There was a sheet we were supplied regarding the building and grounds equipment and tools that we have in a file. The energy project is a new project regarding lights. So far, he's coming in close to that 3,000. It'll be more than that, but then we have incentives back from consumers. So it's still coming in right about, and projected is right around that 3,000. Any questions there? Public safety, which is the fire equipment, shows the proposed incomes, their fire equipment, the property taxes. Any questions on that page? The next page shows capital outlay. The price for the new vehicle, which was in last year's budget, or the current year's budget, was not purchased, is projected for the 2015 budget. They are also working to start a fund of savings, so that will have to be moved into a different line to keep that reserved. Other than that, any questions? The fire operating fund, with the revenues, proposed revenues. And on page 9 is the proposed expenses. Any questions on that one? Next page, 10, is the streetlight fund. This is the White Lake Drive. It's got the proposed revenues and proposed expenses. One thing that will be reviewed this year is that special assessment district. That is where the question lies regarding how that district is currently funded. And that's where Mr. Wiesner is here regarding that. He will be coming in to look at that stuff. Any questions on that? Building inspection fund. With the proposed incomes and proposed expenses. Any questions there? Browns Pond Dam, that's another one that will be visited this year. That's the special assessment district that we had in the past. That's where we are getting the information that I got from Dave Schultz will be supplying to the board regarding his study on the special assessment district for that. So at this time, we have a proposed, where we have to continue to maintain around that dam for the, especially this poison ivy that seems to grow up there and all the other grasses and brush and stuff. We also are looking at the possibility of if we have to have any other, it says dam inspection, but there was also the question of if we needed to have further information from Mr. Schultz regarding the cost of that repairs, but that is all dependent upon which way the special assessment goes, as to whether that would be. Any questions on that? Capital project, that's the $5,000 transferred towards the road improvements. Other than that, the $20,000 that was in there previously and the $20,000 that's in there regarding looking at fire station number 2 and expanding on that. That's something that the board needs to look at to somehow see how that could be added on to as proposed. Any questions on that?
What do you mean added on to?
We were looking at that because it's a pole-style building, whether it's adding on to station number 2 to make sure, first of all, we have problems with, remember we took that tank out and proposed adding on
Yeah.
to that side of it? We didn't ever proceed with adding
I
onto
thought we'd
it.
already decided that though a couple years ago.
To add onto it? But we didn't proceed with how much it actually cost or doing any, whether it needed to be engineered or because it's a pole barn style building, if it had to be. So that's where we'll have to look this year because we need to know, first of all, if it has to be engineered. That's a big cost. Yes?
Have you given any thought in your numbers anywhere, I couldn't see them myself, about a contingency fund for this White Lake ambulance fiasco that we're facing? We possibly will have to pay some attorney fees for whatever went on.
Actually,
I
that,
heard all kinds of noises about numbers,
right.
anywhere from $7,000 to $40,000.
That actually we actually have in our insurance that covers non-litigation. So right now, the attorney that was supplied by the insurance company is waiting to see what that total cost is regarding. Right now, it's a nominal fee of $300 and some strictly for mediation. We haven't seen any other figures regarding the cost for the attorney, and maybe Don can answer that better because that has to do with the attorney's fees and the budget of the ambulance.
The budget of the ambulance is within the ambulance.
I understand that, but did it cover all those fees that were proposed that it was gonna cost additional monies to the townships to recoup, because the budget for the ambulance says it has to have a 10% fund set aside. But was it covered in their overall funding? I haven't heard any more where we were gonna get billed for anything other than the mediation.
No,
Just
you won't be getting any additional budget, not budget, bills.
That's what I've heard. Because that first part.
This is the ambulance, they want to be where it's going to be the fastest to reach of the outside communities than the close ones. And that comes out of our budget, the ambulance budget.
He's not talking about that, he's talking about the litigation, the cost regarding the litigation for Fruitland Township and recouping those costs within the budget of the ambulance.
We haven't, each unit is still gonna pay their part. Right now, the most people on the board want the breakout to be the same as any bills that ever came to us. The way we started, and we worked our way through all these times. We just haven't gotten down. We probably got one meeting coming where it's decided what the formula would be. Is that what you wanted?
But that's regarding the mediation costs.
That's within it.
The only thing I've seen is the mediation cost.
Yeah.
So no.
That's the only thing we worry about, right? We don't worry about it right now. It's just that we've got to settle it.
Right.
I worry about it when my taxes are gonna be used to pay for something
that,
stupid.
I understand that, but fussing at us is not going to help. It takes those people around the board to make that decision. And we wanted to have it done a couple months ago. It's not done yet.
Still doesn't answer my question. If there is a potential that we will have to pay anything, there
Yes,
should be a contingency
we
set up in the budget for it. Otherwise,
figure.
you're going to have to amend this down the road.
Correct.
Yeah.
And at this point, we have no idea of the cost. If he's talking about additional costs, the only cost I've seen is the mediation.
You mean after this is all said and done, the attorneys haven't presented their bills, and somebody in the ambulance authority hasn't totaled them up to find out how to split them up?
Not that I've seen any of.
And the question is, right now, what the ambulance has done is how we're going to handle this pay, that's all.
Yeah, but we still have to know what it is before that.
Well,
We will have to amend the budget accordingly, I would hope.
I don't.
Some of this will,
Done.
no, that wouldn't come out of that non-litigation fund, so. Is it currently in the budget? No. Have we heard anything about what it costs? I have not. As I said, the only thing I've heard is the mediation costs.
Most of the members of the consortium operate on an April 1 through March 31 fiscal year, Township specifically.
Correct. The ambulance
Wouldn't you
does.
think that they would be clamoring for something that they might have to pay?
The ambulance works on it, is their fiscal year ends in June. So, yes, but my understanding is I have not seen any other bills or information other than the mediation.
So we're not gonna plan for anything.
The board will have to amend the budget accordingly.
And what if you don't have the funds?
We will still have to pay
We're in
it.
trouble.
Yeah, we still have to pay it. So, how they're going to do it on the,
All right,
Ambulance
I
have that.
asked, I'm not satisfied with the answer, but I asked.
you asked, and Jim, you had,
No, I'll follow the board's instructions and reserve my comments for the 3 minutes that have been allowed in the agenda. I would like the record to show that this conversation was out of order according to the board rules.
this is a public hearing. The public hearing portion means that you interact.
There's nothing in the agenda that says this is a public hearing. It says,
Okay,
there is a time for public comment. Any person may speak for up to 3 minutes during the public comment period. I'm reserving that for myself, and I'm pointing out that this board meeting is not being done according to what's in print.
but the public hearing has separate rules. A public hearing has to be held within another meeting, which it is, and during the public hearing, the public has a right to interact. They still have to be recognized, but they have the right to interact.
Your decision to print that any person may speak up to 3 minutes during the public comment period takes precedent.
I
That is the
disagree.
rule, that is the rule that you have established for the township special meeting on March 24th at 7:00 PM.
Regarding public comment, correct. But you have a right, if you have any questions within the budget, to please comment within the public hearing.
I reserve my right as dictated by the board to make my comments for 3-minute duration at the appointed time in the agenda.
Okay, but I'm telling you that you have the right during the public
What
hearing.
you have to say does not overrule the rules that you have put in place.
Okay, you can reserve your right. Do you have anyone else have any comments? We're up to the per diem page. The per diem shows the fiscal year 2015 salaries. There is one exception that will need to be removed, the GSAR nominal fee, that will now be, Fire Chief Larry Radke has been meeting with Dan Stout, not only him, but they are changing this whole program to be Muskegon County Ground Search and Rescue. So that will no longer be a line item, so if you would kindly cross that out. We can't pay them to go out of the township boundaries, certainly on a volunteer basis. And when they're in boundaries, they're responding to calls. So if you would remove that from this sheet. Is there any questions?
What's the G stand for?
Ground? I guess there's ground, there's air, and there's water, so I didn't realize that. Any questions on
I
that?
just thought it was search and rescue and that was all there was to it.
That's what it started out as far as the township was concerned, and then they added the G, and then now it's gonna be Muskegon County.
I just wanted to point out to make sure everybody knew that the mileage did change.
Down, that it went down?
Correct.
So any questions?
So ground search and rescue is gonna be strictly volunteer and it's gonna be sponsored by the county.
Well, I don't know if you'd call it sponsored by the county. It's strictly volunteered, but it's going to be headed up by the county, as Muskegon County. We still have, the township still has its own equipment that will stay the township's equipment, because that's the township's equipment. Even though it started within the township, it's now grown as far as a county, and Dan Stout being the, what is he, the deputy sheriff,
So there will
is
not,
heading up.
There will not be any wages paid for search and rescue by this township.
Unless they're responding to a call within the township. As a regular call, not as a ground search and rescue nominal fee.
That would be a recognized incident.
Correct. Any other questions on that? Does the board have any questions? I think we kind of went through it as a process.
I just want to make a statement. I expressed about the maintenance wages way back when, at one of our meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Because you had said at the beginning of the budget meetings that there would be no raises by anybody, and then,
Except for,
and then we end up
right.
with that one. Well, you made the statement that he's doing a lot of different things than he started out as. The job description when he was hired, everything he's doing now is within that same description.
Well, he's doing energy surveys, audits, and stuff that was outside of what we were first requiring him to do. So, I think additional duties, especially when you're looking at like counting light bulbs and stuff like that, that's not in a maintenance person's general. And then we also have to think, we have, all these, multiple buildings, not just this one. We have all 3 buildings, but he's gotta do that one. So, but yeah, except for him, every other salary stayed the same. Prior year, I believe we just raised Marion's and no one else's.
That's not actually a salary though.
That's payroll.
Payroll.
Yeah, it's payroll. It's the hourly wage, yeah. You're right. I stand corrected. So any other question, comment on the budget itself? All right, the public hearing portion is closed. We'll move to the General Appropriations Act, which is the actual act of adopting the budget. Lisa?
Ready?
Feeling up to it?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, section 1.
You should read the resolution number.
Oh, let's start at the top. Blue Lake Township General Appropriations Act, resolution number 032414-01. Section 1, title. This resolution shall be known as the Blue Lake Township 2015 General Appropriations Act. Section 2, Chief Administrative Officer. The supervisor shall be the Chief Administrative Officer and shall perform the duties of the Chief Administrative Officer enumerated in this act. Section 3, Fiscal Officer. The clerk shall be the fiscal officer and shall perform the duties of the fiscal officer enumerated in this act. Section 4, Public hearing on the budget. Pursuant to MCLA 141.412 and .413, notice of a public hearing on the proposed budget was published in a newspaper of general circulation on March 16, 2014, and posted on the township website and at Town Hall, March 19, 2014. A public hearing on the proposed budget was held on March 24, 2014. Section 5, Millage Levy. Blue Lake Township Board shall cause to be levied and collected the general property tax on all real and personal property within the township upon the current tax roll, an allocated millage of 0.9403 mil township operations, and voter authorized millage of 2.000 mils for the fire department operations, and 1.5000 mils for fire department equipment, and a millage to be set for streetlight district based on expenses. Section 6, Adoption of the budget by department. Blue Lake Township Board adopts the 2014-2015 fiscal year budgets for the various funds by department. Township officials responsible for the expenditures authorized in the budget may expend township funds up to, but not to exceed, the total appropriation authorized for each department. Section 7, appropriation not a mandate to spend. Appropriations will be deemed maximum authorizations to incur expenditures. The fiscal officer shall exercise supervision and control to ensure that expenditures are within appropriations, and shall not issue any town order for expenditures that exceed appropriations. Section 8, payment of bills. Pursuant to MCLA 41.75, all bills against Blue Lake Township shall be approved by the Blue Lake Township Board prior to being paid. The township clerk and the treasurer may pay certain bills prior to approval by the township board to avoid late penalties, service charges, and interest and payroll in accordance with the approved salaries and hourly rates adopted in this Appropriations Act. The township board shall receive a list of bills paid prior to approval for approval at the next board meeting. Section 9, authorized salary, hourly, and per diem rates. Included in the various departments are amounts of the salary, hourly, and per diem rates for the employees of the township. Please refer to fiscal year 2015 budget. Section 10, estimated revenues and expenditure. Estimated total revenues and expenditures for the various funds of Blue Lake Township are referred to fiscal year 2015 budget. Section 11, periodic financial reports. The township clerk shall provide the township board at the township meeting, at the board meeting immediately following the end of each fiscal quarter and at the final board meeting of the fiscal year. A report of the fiscal year to date, revenues and expenditures compared to the budgeted amounts in the various funds of the township. Section 12, budget monitoring. Whenever it appears to the township supervisor or to the township board that the actual and probable revenues in any fund will be less than the estimated revenues upon which the appropriations from such fund were based, and when it appears that expenditures will exceed an appropriation, the township clerk shall present to the township board recommendations to prevent expenditures from exceeding available revenues or appropriations for the fiscal year. Such recommendations shall include proposals for reducing appropriations, increasing revenues, or both. Section 13 is board adoption.
You've heard the General Appropriations Act. There is to adopt the foregoing Blue Lake Township General Appropriations Act, RES 032414-01. Do I hear a motion to adopt? I have a motion by Don,
I'll support.
and a second by Lyle. Can you roll call, please?
Don,
Yes.
Lyle,
Yes.
Debbie,
Yes.
Melanie,
Aye.
Lisa.
Yes.
Motion is carried. The supervisor declared the motion carried and the resolution adopted on the 24th day of March, 2014. The next item is fiscal year 2014 budget amendments. The first one is a trustee salary. The fiscal year amount was $6,500. Year-to-date is $59.97. That does not include any of March's meetings, which included the special meetings for the budget. The proposed amendment is to $6,855, which is a change of $355. The general fund payroll taxes, the fiscal year 2014 was $6,714. The year-to-date is $6,349.42, and the proposed amendment is $7,891 with a change of $1,177. Fire department payroll taxes, fiscal year 2014, $2,650. Year-to-date is $29,1573. Proposed amendment is $3,165, which is a change of $515. The PTAF payroll taxes is $1,210 for fiscal year 2014. Year-to-date is $1,360.02. Proposed amendment is $1,424, which is a $214 change. And the Browns Pond Dam payroll taxes, fiscal year 2014 was 0. The year-to-date is $782. Proposed amendment is $782, which is a change of $782. This is document number 032414-01. Do I hear a motion to adopt or to approve document 032414-01 to make the proposed amendments?
So moved.
Support?
I'll support it.
I have a question though.
Okay, hang on, I gotta figure out. Don and Lyle both said they supported.
It's okay.
Lyle? Okay. All right, discussion.
The payroll taxes went up because of a change in the amount of payroll
We
taxes?
underestimated them during the last budget process. That's the
Okay.
main thing there. We didn't really go up in the amount. It's supposed to be the .0765,
Okay,
so.
okay, and the Browns Pond Dam payroll taxes, that has to do with the maintenance there? Is that
Correct, because we didn't have any in that till we had Bob go over
We
and
started
clean.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Debbie,
Yes.
Lyle,
Yes.
Don,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
Melanie.
Aye. Motion carried. All right. That concludes the meeting. We're now to the point of public comment, which is, as Mr. Slifkin pointed out, up to 3 minutes. If you would kindly.
Please quit the charade that you all are doing. I'm holding a Blue Lake Township balance sheet dated March 4th, 2014. That from review is proof that your series of budget meetings took place with flawed financial information. I say flawed unless in fact you are working during the budget process with some numbers cooked up by the supervisor and ignoring the legally kept bookkeeping. According to the statement, Township has a negative $111,075.94 in cash and checking accounts. Bills to the Township have been overpaid by $3,331.30. An excess of $485.43 has been paid in federal payroll taxes. The general fund has $6,226.56 owed to other funds, and compared to a year ago, it would appear that there's been a loss of $24,748 in current assets. Questions? Where did almost $25,000 of the general fund go over the past year? Have you been spending, in fact, more than what taxes and fees have been bringing in?
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Fred Arbogast, I live in 645 Pond Road. I have got some more for your plate. The same profit and losses that you were using during the budget work sessions, which correlate to the balance sheet that Mr. Slifkin was referring to. A couple of items appear on stick out like sore thumbs. Your payroll taxes have been overstated township-wide on the expenses, all over $588. The biggest chunk of it happened in the fire department. If you take the payroll numbers that are shown to be expended on your profit and loss under expenses, fire department, $29,060. Maintenance for fire department, another $709. The two of those added together, and you multiply them by the rate that you just referred to a few minutes ago, 0.0765, should have come to $2277. The expenses are $2773 for an overstatement in the payroll taxes for the employer's share of $496. That's pretty close to the $485 he was just talking about. Did we overpay him and expense it wrong, or what? It's someplace for you to look. You're gonna have to look into these things and find out what it is that may be creating these problems. You've also got a little $20 overstatement in the general fund, another $16 overstatement in the PTAF fund. Those are small. A few pennies here, a few pennies there, and pretty soon the dollars won't up. But the fire department has suffered an overstated expense in employer payroll tax, almost $500. Look at it. Whoever is responsible, whoever is going to be digging into the problem, and also the balance sheets have some sore thumbs sticking out, and some of them are bleeding. Look at them. You will see assets with a credit balance, abnormal. You'll see liabilities with a debit balance, totally abnormal. Now, if people don't understand how to read a financial statement, I recommend very strongly, go to MCC, Baker College, I don't care where you go. Take Accounting 101, at least one semester. Try and understand debits and credits and how they should be carried out and how they should be used. You might be able to understand what you're looking at. You might be able to understand how to do the job.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Hearing no other public comment, meeting is adjourned. 7:38.
Don't run away.
He's doing our insurance and stuff with the insurance school. And she says they would rather have a guy in the work environment rather than sit home.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Well, you know, I'll get you, because I'm
Did you
And the one has some in it,
read what went through it? Like it was.
but the other
Yeah.
one is, the one that has back
I
has.
have.
And I was looking at you and
Debbie,
Debbie.
I know you,
Something's not right.
That reminded me of a story that I
Yeah, we
was
gotta do the
doing
eliminations
when I
from
was
the
doing books and
process
projects.
rather than add it.
Listen,
So,
No, I think you
put
could
it out there.
it doesn't mean nothing like this.
Yeah, you tried.
Well, I should tell you, it was interesting thing.
Responsibilities
There's no
that
welded up there yet?
What,
solve a lot.
what surprised me, I was prepared
I'll be shooting here to the.
I was prepared
What was all that stuff
The
that was
warrant's
going
got a lot in it.
to the trustees
About him.
and were in charge.
But I have no question. So that would be in my preliminary, I got it.
What do you mean? Between the ears.
Oh, yeah.
And I see those questions.
What do you-
President, I
Actually,
was
no,
on the
I
board
don't know.
committee at work.
I don't know if you're gonna be around tomorrow.
He passed a law that accommodated
Because I'm
workforce.
gonna try to
point.
find out.
So the guy got hurt at work, the company would provide him a job, that would not hurt his injury.
Each has questions.
Your insurance
Well,
company
what
like
I
that,
have.
I don't know.
agree with it because they, people
She's just
recover
totally
quicker
You have
if they're
separate
in a
lists.
work
One
environment
list.
rather than
Or
separate
no
questions.
questions. So if somebody answers, well, I used to.
Oh,
I won't be in- There should be.
What happened there?
They may need more changes to it now.
Yeah,
But,
I went in
yeah,
to
for follow
the club at
yeah.
They ain't
absolutely.
gonna-
Because the thing, anytime
Look
we
at
get
online,
to
see what's going on.
and let the
triggering
state
question, but
police
and then we have the right to ask.
to put
just
cameras.
Or go back and ask the other
That's,
also.
that's what that
Trustees
put
knew
in there.
nothing about
And
it.
that
I
record should
wrote
stay.
that. One of my letters, I said, people off
Yeah,
on
it's the same thing.
I really am my
I was looking at that.
Family medical
Did they do
leave
that?
act, and that's where you can
I don't
take
know.
off.
At 4
They
o'clock,
took it off.
I went to have
Take
the
care of
hospital
somebody.
suffering a heart attack. That's
But
how
the other one I'll
Says,
definitely.
They ought to be
aggravated I
paid.
was.
People can't afford to take off
But,
and stay home and take care of their spouse or
I don't know
kid
why
or
these
whatever.
police
because they
can be
can't
liable.
afford to
Well,
keep
the
the money.
only thing I can figure is if you're working
It's a hell of a lot cheaper just to,
and
And
I'm not saying the company has to pay it.
you don't have to live
The
with them.
government
and
should.
I
That's a
know
lot
there's
cheaper than
slips
putting
in
them in a
the
nursing home or a hospital.
Spring Lake.
I turned them over to detectives in Whitehall.
I know.
That's the part,
I don't.
Explain this.
that's the part that threw me.
It's not part-time.
Yeah.
Sound like
What
he's
is
asking,
it?
sound like he's asking the same question.
I beat you to it.
Yeah,
Did they hire you
Had
in as
going
part-time?
was
but
one
you
of the
can't stop
trustees.
that.
No,
Was
No, I
going
can
into
just
pull
send them
tabs.
Can you get paid
it's a
full-time?
free country, they can do what they want.
Going into
Yeah.
pull
Yeah.
tabs.
They paid, they hired you as full-time.
Fundraiser.
Full-time, but they only
It's
work.
run by the state.
Down there.
Pull
They
tabs
hired you
and
back
money.
full-time.
That shows the
Well,
state.
he was going in during the
They
off
hire you
hours
back as
and
part-time,
taking these things,
quarter-time,
finding
half-time.
the winners, and then coming in during the day. Not even buying, just turning them in.
paper that he wrote,
You mean, he told him I was
You gotta
bad,
keep it, you gotta go by what it says.
and they were.
And got over $8,000 per year.
But,
yeah.
you make it put everything
Oh,
on
let's see, as long as he.
Oh, yeah.
Don't take anything.
No.
Well, in both cases,
Yeah.
confrontation.
I mean, he keeps,
Take that with you.
she keeps.
Take a look that up online.
Well, then,
Yeah,
But take it with you.
Yeah, I will.
I'd say a whole lot more, but I've got to watch
Potential
my
for the
position
solid
too.
waste.
Cemetery section.
Add a line to your budget
If I say too much, they'll check it.
Well,
for heat.
I have not.